Good morning, first grade. Well, I hope that you got the chance to tell your parents all about that story about the four seasons and about what you noticed about those four brothers who kept fighting and fighting and fighting. And how did Father Son solve it? So we're going to draw these four seasons. Now, we did a picture that showed all four of the seasons way back when we were learning about our numbers. And what number were we learning about? The number 4. So we're going to make a similar picture, but a little bit different. So I'd like you to choose your green, and we're going to divide our picture into 4 parts. So finding your center, and then left to right across the middle, making each part as even as you can. And I did my green, very light green, so you can barely see it. Now we're going to show those 4 seasons. Hopefully you can remember some of the things that were described in the story. So up here, I think we should start with the season that we're in, which is springtime. So we're going to take a very light blue and put in our sky. Next is going to be our summertime. You can take your lemony yellow and we'll do a bright, sunshiny lemony yellow sky. And after our summer comes the fall. And I'm going to make the sky rather a golden yellow. And then our last sky will be our winter sky. Here's our autumn and here's our winter. So we'll do blue again, but a very pale blue. Now, in each picture, I would like to show a living thing and how it is experiencing the seasons and these fighting brothers. So I chose a tree, and I'd like you to do a tree in each picture and to show what happens to that tree in the different seasons. So of course I'll need some ground for my tree to grow out of. Here is some nice fresh green grass in my spring, and here's my tree. My trunk goes upwards. I'm using my baby bear side. And as you draw it upwards, you kind of make lines that branch one way and branch another way, so that all these little lines create your tree form. In our summer picture, I'm going to put very light green grass. I might even put just a touch of gold on the grass as well, because it almost gets scorched in the summertime, doesn't it? Our beautiful fresh green spring grass gets rather dry and yellowy. So then I'll add my tree. Then in the autumn, our grass is green, just a bit, just a little bit of green left. And we also see some brown in the grass. So we'll add a little bit of brown. And then our tree. Now, our very last tree, I want our ground to look snowy. And usually we leave things white if they're snowy. But I'm going to take my purple, my blue purple, and just add the hint of shadow on the snow. And hopefully the other parts that are not colored in, the white will shine through that light blue and give the appearance of snow. And I need my tree. Now in the winter time, I won't have any leaves on this tree. So I want to show my branches nice and dark. Here's my tree. So now that we have formed the colors of our seasons, you may start to add some details. I'm going to only add 1 or 2 details to each one, but I bet you were listening carefully to my story and heard lots of different things that happen in these seasons, so you can show all those things as long as your picture isn't too full and you can't see what's happening. But you can add, in our springtime, I'm going to draw some very light, fresh buds on the tree. And I'm going to add a few little spring violets. Now, you may have more detail in your flowers if you'd like, because they're a little closer to you, so you can show your flowers. Otherwise, they can be colorful dots in a beautiful meadow. Our summer picture. We also want some nice green leaves on that tree. And notice I'm using my mama bear side and just short little chopping drawings. It fills in your tree with green, but also lets it feel like there are many, many, many little leaves layered there. My autumn tree, in the summer, you can think about what details you might add there. I might add a very strong sun shining down, or some plants growing and ripening, ready for harvest. What do you see in the summertime? If you'd very much like to, you could add a little bit of water at the edge, because my favorite thing in the summertime is to swim. But what else might you see in the summer? You may add those things to your drawing. Now here, in our autumn, we're going to add just a little green to our tree. But we're also going to add golden and orange and your vermilion or your red or both. And those colors give us some of those rainbow colors from the fall. Our reds, oranges, and golds. Some turning a little to brown. It almost makes my tree look like a rainbow. And then I want to show in the autumn how things ripen and fall. And one of the things that I like to collect that falls is apples. So I'm going to add some apples to my autumn tree, my fall tree. You could also show some berry bushes or some squirrels burying their nuts, getting ready for the winter time. They want to save those for spring so that when they're hungry after sleeping all winter, they can find a snack. So there's some apples in my apple tree. You might also want to show the leaves that fell and just some little leaves below your tree. Now, lastly, my winter tree, I don't want any leaves in, but you do see some signs of life in winter now and then. Every once in a while you might see a cardinal who has come to look for some seeds under the snow, or you might see a rabbit in his white fur coat looking for something to eat. So I don't have too much to add to my winter drawing. Perhaps you'd like to show some snowflakes falling. Now, I'm not going to add a snowman to my winter picture because this tree has no humans nearby. So it doesn't have any humans building a snowman or sitting in a boat on the water or picking up apples under the tree. I just want to show how the seasons change. Although we know that we are very much affected, aren't we? So that is my drawing for now. And I think you'll have lots of fun thinking up different ideas. Maybe you'll add some icicles to your tree. Maybe you want to add a nest to your spring tree. Lots and lots of options. So have fun with that drawing. Now, before we say goodbye today, I do have a little number practice. So I have some questions for you today about zebras. And you can answer these questions with a number sentence. So I'm curious to see at the end if you can write down these 3 number sentences to show what happened in the story. The first one is about a zebra herd. They're all about zebras. But in this herd, there are 2 colts. A colt is a young zebra, 4 mother zebras, and 2 father zebras. How many zebras are there in the herd? That's your first question. Your second question is about a herd living in a zoo. So if there was a herd living in a zoo and 2 of the zebras moved to a new zoo, to a zoo with no zebras, they moved. So in the first zoo, of those 10 zebras, how many are left when 2 leave? So show that little story with a number sentence. My last question today. Did you know that zebras can walk really far in one day? They can walk 10 miles in a day. While they're walking, they graze and they walk to some place that has water. How far could a zebra walk in 5 days? If they walk 10 miles a day, how far could they go after 5 days? So write a number sentence for that. I'm curious to see what you end up with. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon.